What is going on? I hope this is working. Even if it's not, we are just going to run with it. What is going on? What is going on? Happy Friday. I do this with no notice, so if you are tuning in, I so appreciate it. The secret sauce for today is simple. Embrace uncertainty. It is the birthplace of opportunity. Trust me. On the docket today, Magic Eden launching the Magic Eden token, ticker sign ME. They are also bringing to life a DAO. TRON, SunPump, it has generated $1 million in the last 9 days. Is it here to stay? Gavin Wood's Proof-of-Ink. What does that even mean? We are going to scratch the surface. And Trump promotes the DeFiant Ones. What does that mean? 140,000 Ethereum and 18,000 Bitcoin options are set to expire today. Chaos to clarity, noise to narrative. It is Friday, August 23rd, and it is time for some rare bits. Today, the Crypto Greed and Fear Index is coming in at a 34. We have slid 5 degrees from yesterday. We are still in the fear zone. My guess is tomorrow we will be pumping well out of the fear zone. Bitcoin dominance, it is currently down on the 24 hours, while the ETH dominance has risen. Total crypto market has slid a bit, but that is about to recapture a bunch of ground in the next couple of hours, and we will get into why. The top crypto search term for the normies is Sun.io, ticker sign SUN. It is up 138% on the 7-day, and we have 74 days until the presidential election. Now, these are a couple things. These are a couple news stories that are just coming in that I wanted to touch on super quick. Sony is diving into Web3 with an Ethereum Layer 2 network called Sonium. Keep in mind, they also opened, I believe it was SNFTs, a marketplace that nobody used. So is this going to be any different? We have Russia. They are planning to launch a crypto exchange in Moscow and St. Petersburg. Their intention, global trade. China is extraditing the mastermind behind a huge scam. He raked in about $14 billion in his pyramid scheme. The Chinese said enough of that. And Bitcoin skyrocketed past $63,000 following a couple things. We had Jerome Powell's speech. We had Robert F. Kennedy decide he is going to pull out of the race and form an alliance with Donald Trump. Before we get into more news, let us check the numbers for the nerds, and it is exciting today. Holy moly. And you know what that time is? That is beer horn time. We are going to celebrate. Bitcoin is up 6.4%. Today, this is just a beautiful thing. We're going to touch base on this stuff. Happy Friday, absolutely everybody. Have a sip of beer. Do your thing. Okay. Wow, the heat map. We only have 2 contenders on the map that are red at the moment. Leo, and I don't even know what this is. It's not even going to show us, and we don't care. The current numbers, Bitcoin, oh my goodness, I love this. Bitcoin trading at $64,294. Ethereum, $2,771. BNB, $591. So close to that 600 mark, then it goes parabolic in my opinion. Salamis, up to 152. We commented on this yesterday. Salamis has been trading in this 140 range. I'm surprised it hasn't edged out of this 148 range more. But to me, when I was looking at charts this morning, that 148 resistance is what we needed to pierce. So we have some good news. It looks like XRP is trading at 61 cents. Toncoin, $6.78. It has not gone up like the rest of these tokens. I think that movement is coming. Dogecoin back up to 11 cents. Cardano back up into the top 10, which is interesting. It was bumped out by TRON for the moment. Wow, everybody is up green. We love to see it. My pick list, everything is in the green. Again, we have some nice movement. Who's moved the most on the day? Mumu the Bull. I've been talking about Mumu the Bull. Up 46% on the day. Sui up 20%. Mogcoin up 16%. Say up 16%. Dog with Hat up 14%. These are wonderful movements. Do we see more of these movements? Now, we are looking at an altcoin month index. It is not altcoin season yet. We are still in Bitcoin season. There's more information on this every single morning in my Substack if you tune in. And one of the stats that I pull every day is always a different stat, just to look at some analytics and some metrics in the space that some of us don't always look at. because they don't always make a lot of sense. But if you put some of these things in your caboodle, sometimes it makes sense long term. So this is just profitable days for Bitcoin, and this is a great number to have, a great statistical number to have when you are trying to convince your friends and family to buy Bitcoin. Now, it's funny. I think yesterday I mentioned anybody who has bought Bitcoin in the last 80 days is down. Up, it might be changing today. We're cresting that $64,000 mark. We're going to look at some resistance numbers that I marked down earlier today. But this movement, this speech from Jerome Powell, like it's good. So it's nice people getting back into the risk on assets. Bitcoin profitable days. Total number of days Bitcoin has been in existence, 3,837. Total number of days profitable, 3,696. That is a 96.33% hit rate with only 144 days not profitable. That doesn't mean there are cycles where it doesn't go down, but if you are holding long term, it is a good bet. Put this in your bag of tricks, please. We are looking at DEX volume. It is down about 14%. We're coming in at about 4.74 billion over the last 24 hours. We absolutely expect this. It is the doldrums of summer. In August, we have to get through to September. We are looking at top meme coins by market capitalization, and I want to click over to price. We have PopCat up 26%, Mu up 16%, Bach 9%, WIF 10%. We mentioned some of these earlier. We can even go, let's go for Parabolic and see what has moved in the last hour. Apu Adjustu, ticker sign APU, it is up 9% in 1 hour. Hoppy, Doge Eat Doge, PayPay, Cat Dog, these are all moving on the last hour. PopCat, wow, up 25% in the last 24 hours, 59% in the last 7 days, 3% in the last hour. PopCat is an interesting one. It is not in my particular bag of tricks, though I might revisit that. I definitely do not want to buy when it is moving up in this green zone, because that is what people do. They think, wow, this is going to continue going up. I want to get in, and that is not the time to buy. The time to buy was last week when it was red, and we were saying, buy these dips, buy MOG, buy Moo, buy the things that you like that are absolutely red. And I did just that. Looking at the new Polymarket news source, we're just going to go down some of the newest things that have come in. NFL Sunday. We have the Saints versus Titans. We have the Broncos versus Cardinals. Who is going to win each of these matches? We have, will Trump admit Operation Warp Speed was his fault? What will Trump say during the Arizona speech? Donald Trump number of tweets in August from the 23rd to the 30th. In that week period, how many tweets will Donald Trump make? These things are so funny because he will go inactive for long periods of time and then just come back and there's a tweet storm. So I know he has another vehicle called Truth Social, I believe, that he prefers to do his messaging on. But after his conversation with Elon Musk, I think he will be on X more and more. Looking at some of my picks, we're going to check in. So Kobe, I've had this pick several days. I think this is not even the first time it was my pick. This is the last 3 or 4 days. So it was at $3.7 million. The next day, $4.1 million. Today, $6.2 million. We are going to check in and see where we are. But we are also going to do just a live watch on some trading. So there are a couple, I'm in a shit ton of chats, right? And I always look for what's happening, what's moving. And I obviously get alerted to what's happening after people buy in. So I take that with a grain of salt. This was one of the tickers that got shilled to me. It did not get shilled to me till it was about this 100K mark. So it dropped down to about $81,000. It has since popped up. The ticker sign is BB, and I am thinking about getting in on this. And I'm watching a couple things. I go to the trades, and I want to see who's buying what. Like it doesn't seem to be a lot of bots here buying and selling. What I don't like is anytime there's a sizable purchase, let's say somebody buys 2 Solana, there's immediately an insider that sells 3 Solana worth. So they're pulling liquidity out rather quickly. The sell pressure was intense when I was looking at earlier. So this is already up to $127,000 market cap. Now here's another one that I got thrown at, and this is super interesting. So We are currently at about $9,900. It is down 84% since somebody told me, hey, look at this. So I threw in 0.1 Solana just to see what happens. And like an idiot, I removed the sell order on the downside just because I know this would have volatility. So what's interesting in this market, this ticker sign is CHAD, C-H-A-D, cat holding a dog. So people think this is funny. What's interesting about this is sometimes there will be this community takeover where you can come in now. If I look at the holders, let's see, what do we have? The top 10 holders hold 19.7%. If we look at these holders, so holder number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So if I went and put in 1 Solana right now, I could purchase $14.7 million worth of this token. And that would put me first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. That would put me the number 8th holder, right? I would be the number 8th highest token holder in this ecosystem. So people watch these things, and sometimes they'll get a group of people and they decide, hey, we're going to make a play on this because they can just run it. So it is really interesting to watch how quickly this stuff moves. It went from about $65,000 when I got in. It went in really quickly down to about $9,000 where we are now. And in that same amount of time, I got shilled this ticker at about $100,000. It dropped down here. I watched it back up. So we are just going to see what's happening now. There's 381 holders. The top 27% of this token is held by the top 10 people. It's not a great ratio. There is a rat insider, so people that are involved with malicious insider activity. I don't like to see the rats, but there's 2, 3. There's quite a few, 4 or 5. There's like, I don't know. There's a fair amount of rats in the top holder. Those are people that are going to put unwanted pressure on this, but it is still moving up. So we are at $128,000. What we are going to do is we are going to check in on both of these after we finish out the news. Chad is currently at $9,900. So let's get into some shit. Okay, and let's see where Kobe's at. So just at the back top of our screen. So Kobe, it is up 28%. Let's even pull it up. So on the 24 hours, it's down 4%. This is kind of traded flat. But across the board, I think for what I'm doing, so it's interesting. This, again, is a token that I'm not trading, meaning I'm not watching this. I'm just going to hold this because I like this token. So as you can see, we had a fair amount of sideways movement. If I zoom in on this, yes, there are signs and technical analysis. I could get in and get out of this, but I just like this token and I'm going to hold it. So I don't care what it does. So I am just slowly watching this. The fact that it has only gone down 24%, or excuse me, 6% in the last 24 hours, I'm fine with. We are just seeing the Bitcoin rally start to take off post-Jerome Powell. So that Bitcoin is the canary in the coal mine. So once it gets down there, all these other things start to flow with liquidity. So what's interesting, though, is it's Friday and it's August and it's the middle of summer. So the bellwether for reading this stuff is sometimes a bit slower. And so I've learned that you just have to be patient. But as we can see already here, Kobe's just making a nice little turnaround here. So we are just going to sit and watch this. So what is up next on the list? So this is, again, one of the analytics that I've just been throwing together in my Substack. We are looking at the possibility to see who will be in the White House. This was this morning. Remember, this was post-Democratic National Convention. Kamala Harris only went up 1 point post that. Trump still looks like he will be in the White House. This morning, the price of Bitcoin came in at $60,000, $60,900. So I am just continuing to watch this. This Jerome Powell speech, we're going to get into that probably tomorrow. I'm going to do some of the stuff over the weekend. We're going to do some look at what Jerome Powell's speech may mean. I'm going to do a deeper dive on the Say ecosystem and how stacks up to Solana and some of these other things. TRON has recently been put in the mix as an Ethereum killer. Solana was an Ethereum killer. Who's the everything killer? Who's the blockchain that does it quicker, better, faster than everybody? Some of these blockchains are new. They are clawing to get into the race. Some of them are building out their apparatus. I think one of the big things that all of these ecosystems need to find footing with is the SDKs, the software developer kits, to make it easy for people to get involved that are from other languages or ecosystems. So good SDKs are the doorway to get people in. It shouldn't be concentration on specific projects. Let's get the developer kits in place so it is easy for the specialists to do their thing. Make the doorway easy to access and get into, and I would like to see that for some of these new blockchains that I am talking with. Next up, we are looking at Magic Eden. They are getting ready to kick off some stuff. They are launching a native token. It will be ticker sign ME. It will allow holders to participate in the DAO. This move reflects the company's broader vision for digital assets and services despite their NFT market downturn. So it is funny to see people say we've turned down on the market. I think I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Oh, I love sneezing, holy moly. I think one of the things that I was thinking about this morning was NFTs will not come back until traders feel rich. And when the market's red and uncertain, people do not feel rich. When that tide changes and people are starting to cash in on some of their meme coin plays, then NFTs will come back. Not till then, but we are getting close, I do think. Next up, this Magic Eden token, a lot of people have been waiting for it. If you are involved in their ecosystem, trading on their ecosystem, you are rewarded diamond points. I think these will be correlated into tokens. I don't know how they're going to work it, but hopefully it will be coming. I haven't heard anything firmly, but I did hear within the next 30 days is the rumor on the street. So a couple things we are looking at. Bitcoin's key support zone lines between $59,160 and $60,970. And resistance up to 64,670, up to 66,483. These were some numbers I put together this morning. So let's check in. So, okay, so we have this first thing that we want to pierce, 64,670. This went out in my Substack this morning. We are currently writing at $64,594. We're up 6.45%. So as we edge closer to this line, if we can continue this momentum, I think we're going to see some really good things. Now let's touch on this. So over this last week, we've seen Justin Sun just bask in the sunlight, bringing his SunPump to life. It was one of the ecosystems that I decided not to mess with. I wanted to just wait and see. I've had mixed luck with pump.fun. I don't do the pump.fun anymore. I specifically go through Bullex, and I have some parameters set up so only things get into my playing field that match a certain number of parameters, and often the stuff that you see on pump.fun, it doesn't make it onto my trading screen. So with that being said, when these new ecosystems pop up, I had no need to go over and, you know what, like I'm fine. I'm not a huge fan of the ecosystem or the founder. He's a little polarizing to me, which is fine. He's an absolutely brilliant individual. I just have never chose to mess with the ecosystem. This did not entice me to do so. People asked me to review it, you know, like do a YouTube, you know, thing on it, and I began to look at it, and I was just like, I'm just not convinced. And here's another example. I didn't jump into the runes either. It was just something I wasn't sold on it, and I just wanted to wait it out. So I was into, I think I minted some art on Bitcoin very early on in the game because I was into that aspect of it. But by the time I got to runes and the different protocols, I just kind of sat by the side and just watched, and we'll see if it ebbs and flows and makes sense. Did I miss something? I don't know. It takes a moment to figure it out. There are people that did tremendously well, but there's also people that lost really heavily. And I didn't see light at the end of the tunnel bright enough to get me to go start gambling down that road. So I chose not to. So TRON is probably going to come and go without me getting involved. They had about 7,300 tokens created in 24 hours, which pales in comparison to what they are doing over on pump.fun or some of these other ecosystems that also have these platforms that allow you to create meme coins almost instantaneously with no coding background. So this craze, it represents a huge risk. You have to, it's kind of like buyer beware. Next up, we have Gavin Wood. This guy's a Giga Chad. He has come up with an interesting new idea called Proof-of-Ink, and it is a Web3 individuality solution using global algorithmically generated tattoos. The idea is this is supposedly going to launch in Q2 2024. The system aims to enhance Web3 adoption while preserving privacy. So what is going to happen? You are going to get a generated QR code. You are going to film the tattoo application of that QR code, and those two combined in some sort of metric are going to give you proof of identity, very similar, I guess, to what WorldCoin is doing with the eyeballs. So this is possibly less invasive. Trying to think about ways to hack this. I mean, Gavin Woods is a Giga Chad. He's super bright, one of the founders of Ethereum, Polkadot. So he knows what's going on. He's been on a bunch of boards. He is a well-versed individual. So hearing his thought process on how this will play out. There's a bit more on it in my Substack, but this is definitely a story that I am going to watch just because I find it super interesting. And this morning I wrote that they had a meeting in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It is the symposium. The idea was to discuss potential interest rate cuts. It looks like shit went well. As we see, the market has turned green. We are happy to see it. Jerome Powell, he just looks more handsome when the market's green, doesn't he? Hats off, Jerome. Next up, we have the Trump family. They are promoting something called the DeFiant Ones, aptly named. The DeFiant Ones is a project led by his two sons, and the project details and regulatory status remain unclear, but they have hinted that it will involve the blockchain and some future-forward Web3 thinking, and we are here for it. Next up, we circle back to Justin Sun. I did not want to have another picture of his up, so we are just going to have a concern. So apparently, this reminds me almost of kind of the scam that SBF tried to pull, right? So at some point, Justin Sun's USDD stablecoin faces concerns. Supposedly, he had about 12,000 Bitcoin in its reserve. That Bitcoin was removed and replaced with one of his internal tokens, which is far less stable. So, I mean, it's hilarious that this is happening. So it's unclear how this is going to work out. The TRX, the HTX, all this shit, he's fucking, like, it's hilarious. And this is probably why the SEC, the FTC, the DEA, the FBI, the CIA, they're all looking for this cat. Anyway, another reason that I am not fucking around on the TRON ecosystem. We also have Cardano. It finally reclaimed its position as number 10th in market cap in the crypto ecosystem. ADA's market cap at the moment, if you are wondering, it's about $13.75 billion. And there has been recent hype around the ecosystem. There are some upcoming things in the roadmap that people are excited about. Follow along in my Substack if you want to know more. But it is nice to see them recapture some ground. We are looking at a bunch of expiry on Ethereum and Bitcoin. We have 140,000 ETH and 18,000 Bitcoin options. They are going to, just these things are gonna, it's almost time, the clock is ticking and we're gonna see some volatility. But the fact that we just had Bitcoin shoot up I don't know. You know, it's so tough to gamble in and think that Bitcoin is going to jump up 6.47%. And let's even look at this. I just want to look at some things super quick. So on the day, so on the week, right, it's only up 7.9%. On the day, it's up 6.2%. This is all after the Jerome Powell speech. So this movement, we are just recapturing ground that was lost. Once we get into positive territory, again, I'm even going to touch back on some of my earlier numbers from some of the stats I did this morning. So if by this end of this 24 hours, if we can clear $66,483, I just think we are like shit could absolutely take off. All right. And you know what? This is my new profile picture on X. This is Kobe. If that doesn't make you smile, you're probably an evil, evil person, and nothing will. So if you're not smiling with that, that means I am not going to tell you a joke. And you know what? Let's just check in on some shit. Let's see where we are. So I want to go back. We were looking at Kobe. Kobe had some nice movement. Okay, so BB. Okay, so this. Okay, man, this thing is on the rip, right? I think so. I got tuned in around this. I think this mark here. When was that? 8. No, let's say 1. I don't know. Right around this mark. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the screen, but right around this. Okay, right around here, this 100K mark. Then we saw a little dip. It went down below. This thing, it looks, wow, this looks really nice. You know what? I want to see a little retrace on this before I jump into this. But we're seeing some nice buys. So we are, holy moly, we're at a $200,000 market cap already. That's nice. Okay, and let's check in on Chad and see what has happened with this. So we are down about where we were. Any trades happening? Okay, they have just absolutely crushed out of this. There's almost no liquidity left in this. These are people that are just holding on to see if it gets pulled back together. So I'll just leave that in my, you know what, like sometimes these tokens just come back, and I'll just leave this in the moon bag for a later date. So we are out of that. But man, this really looks nice. All right, so let's see what these sales do. So you know what? So you know what? I'm not going to buy any now, but I'm gonna wait for a little pullback on this and probably get into some. Okay, that's what we got today. I hope you guys are enjoying all the thing. I'm sorry to get sidetracked and just staring at the screen. If you are still craving crypto clarity, please subscribe to my Substack. Warning, happy Friday. Rare events may cause coddling. Hodling.